Hello and welcome to PPC Live The Podcast, formerly the PPC Chat Roundup. My name is Anu, the founder of PPC Live, and if you are used to hearing advice from PPC experts about how to ensure that we are keeping up with the ever-changing landscape, don't worry, you are still in the right place. But instead of me relaying what the PPC experts are saying, I'm going to be bringing the PPC experts to you. Every week, I'm going to be speaking to a different PPC expert about their biggest F up. But not just that, also how they've turned things around, what learnings they've taken out from it. We're going to be sharing about disappointments, who has been supportive along the way, what has surprised them, and much more. Today, we have the fantastic Kat Sale, who alongside with her agency, House of Performance, have been a fantastic supporter of PPC Live and has sponsored some past events. We're going to be talking about a past fail that she experienced with a client, advice that she gave that wasn't listened to, what the outcome of that was, and just how it has just made her think about trusting herself more, being more aware of red flags when she sees them and calling them out. So yeah, let's hear more from Kat. Hello, Kat. Welcome to PPC Live, the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's a delight. So for those who don't know, Kat Sale is the co-founder of House of Performance, a brilliant supporter of PPC Live. They were one of the first to support us and sponsor us. They're a UK-based performance marketing consultancy that specializes in helping ambitious brands maximize their return on investment through paid media channels such as PPC, paid social, display, and remarketing campaigns. Now, beyond her consultancy work, Kat is an active thought leader in the performance marketing space, especially on LinkedIn, and she has shared her expertise on platforms like the Marketing Meetup, where she discussed strategies for successful PPC campaigns, emphasizing the importance of understanding one's product deeply, in quotation marks, eat the dog food. That is a phrase that she's used on multiple occasions. Kat also has appeared on the PPC Mastery podcast, where she discussed building an agency that people enjoy working at, highlighting the importance of company culture and adaptability in today's marketing landscape. What she likes to do for fun, obstacle courses, she says, and we should be seeing her on the Gladiators very soon. She also has 2 boys who keep her very, very busy. That made her laugh. But yeah, let's go back to that phrase, Kat. Eat the dog food. What is that about?
So, a long time ago, a mentor taught me this phrase, and it basically means if you're going to work with a client or on a specific business, you need to eat the dog food, aka test the product, do the thing that they sell, understand it inside out. So, for example, we recently started working with biscuiteers. So that's an easy one. They sell luxury biscuits. So the first thing I did was went on their website and ordered some biscuits, 2 each to test. You know?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So really actually experience the product. Try as much as possible.
You have to.
Experience
How can you market something
product
properly if you don't fully? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that actually reminds me of a friend, this lady called Lee Jun, we wrote an article recently about being curious. Being curious is your biggest, superpower about being a marketer.
Yes.
And because she was trying to gain a client who owned yachts, she actually put herself through a training to learn how to operate a yacht. And I was like, wow, that is properly eating the dog food.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's so important and it's so overlooked. So as much as we realistically can, we eat the dog food.
Absolutely. And thank you for taking time out of your holiday. It looks like you're having a great time. For those who are just listening to this, I'm just kidding with Kat. She is in the middle of a work day, but she's very much taking advantage of the brilliant weather we're having here in the UK, which doesn't happen often. So I totally empathize with her that, as much as you can do some working in the sun, take it.
Why not?
That's great.
Why not?
All right.
Love it.
Okay. Let's not keep our listeners waiting much longer. We know what this podcast is about. We're talking about F-ups we've experienced, learnings we've had from it, how we've managed to still lead a life of success, lead a career of success despite this issue. So, Kat, what do you want to share with us today?
I have so many. So I want to talk about when the business was quite new, House Performance, only been going a year and a bit, and we started working with a gifting company. They did gift experiences and physical gifts, and we were consulting with them. And the long and short of it was they wanted to launch for one of their peaks, which was Father's Day, and their team spent £40,000 with 0 sales. That's the main up.
Yeah.
We then didn't get our contract paid, so we lost 12,500 in fees, and the contract ended. It was bad. There's a lot of learnings.
Wow. Yeah. That's already a big heavy, like £40,000 was spent over what period of time?
3 days.
Over 3 days. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's
I promise
dig
it
into
wasn't my advice. I promise I can explain.
Okay, right. Let's get to the explanation of it. Let's get to the meat of it. What caused this issue?
So the business was run very hands-on by founder CEO, and he very much wanted to go big for Father's Day. He had 2 brands. One was sort of tried and tested on Father's Day, a secondary brand. They had not been in, this is all in PPC, by the way. They'd not been in the auction for Father's Day for this brand, and he wanted to go big on it. So he said, right, help my team learn how to build campaigns and start entering the auction for all things Father's Day gifting. So we taught them how to build campaigns. We taught them how to upload them into the interface. A very new junior team as well.
Yeah.
And then it was a Friday, about 2, maybe 3 weeks before Father's Day. I think 3 weeks. And we said, don't launch on a Friday unless you're going to check it on a Saturday. Yeah. Never. No. CEO said we need to go live. Okay. The next thing was, we wouldn't recommend you launch it in Broad Match. We recommend you launch it in Exact. And if it performs well, we'll then add some phrase, and then we'll add some Broad if it's good. Broad Match will be fine. We're going to launch it in Broad Match. Okay.
Oh my God.
Up to you. It's your account. Start with a conservative budget because, we don't know how this is going to perform. No, we're going to put 500 a day on all of these campaigns. They had loads of campaigns they built out.
Oh my God, my insides.
Disaster. But we weren't running it. We were consulting, right? Because half of what we do is consulting and guiding others. Yeah. So all we could do is send an email explaining what we'd already said. These are the risks. Go for it. So we did, and they did. And off we went on the weekend, tried not to worry about it. I didn't log in at the weekend because I'm really anti that unless you have to. Like, I'm very anti. It's not my account. And then on the Monday, 9:00, my phone rings and it's the CEO and he says, you've spent £40,000 and we haven't had one sale. And I was like, well, we didn't. And we advised all of this, but you kind of made them and you put the pressure on. And it was bad. It's really bad.
That is really annoying. I think there's a lesson to be learned of, like, I don't even think the mistake was the spend. The mistake was maybe the client choice. Because, a client that is not going to listen to you, a client that is just not paying attention to anything that you're saying, that's, and which happens because you never know who you're going to work with until it begins. And then you're like, oh, okay, bad, mistake. Let's, were there any signs before like this campaign that they were such a client?
Yeah, there was a little bit. So when we went into, we had a couple of meetings, at pitch stage, and the CEO would talk really badly about his team. And I think that's a flag sign, because if they're your team, you should back them and you should rate them and build, especially to an external company. We're just a consultancy. So that was, in hindsight, that was a flag. We didn't really pay attention to it at the time, but that is a flag. I think if you don't back your own team, you're certainly not going to back us, are you? Because we're external.
Yeah.
And he was very pushy with, we need this. But I've had clients like that before, but obviously not with the same outcome. So I wouldn't say there's any other major flags. No.
Okay. All right. And so what was your first reaction? You get this call from this client, you're like, on that 9 a.m. morning.
Yeah.
What was your instinct, to do, to say?
So I said, well, let me go and have a look at what's happened and come back to you with like my diagnosis of that, even though I sort of already knew. I was like, I'm going to go and have a look and really see it. So I want to check that even the amount of spend was accurate and stuff. So that was my first reaction. My second reaction was phone Emma, my business partner, and say, oh, this has happened. Da, da, da. And then my physical reaction was I needed to run to the toilet because I have a very close link with my gut to my brain.
Oh, God, yeah.
I can laugh about it now. And I was at home, so it's fine. But that is what happens, if you're put under severe stress.
Yeah. Yeah, your body reacts. Your body knows.
It does. And I do not ignore that. I do not ignore that. If that is happening, like I know that, I need to take some time out, whatever. Anyway, so then I went and looked at the campaigns and I was like, as expected, you launched this on something that had never been tested with very high bids, no caps. So I just emailed saying, look, this is what happened. As basically, I didn't say as expected, but I said, look, we put these warnings in and they were all ignored.
Yeah.
Yeah, painful.
Yeah. So give us your biggest learning. So like your top 3 learnings from what would you have done differently?
I think the first warning about the, not being kind about his own team, not speaking highly of his own team, I probably would have said something early on before we really started working together and said, well, do you rate your team? Because you're asking us to train them. So do you think they can get there or not? Have a conversation about that. And then depending on the response, potentially not take on the contract.
Yeah.
Because really we were kind of set up to fail a little bit.
Yeah.
So definitely that. And then I think I could have sent an extra warning email about the launching, gone higher, made sure he was more aware, but I don't think that would have made any difference.
No. Okay.
And then the other learning is don't take things to heart so much because, of course, me and Emma took that so personally, especially because the business was very young then. And actually, now I can reflect and think, well, we really did do everything we could. So actually, we shouldn't take any blame or any personal thing. And obviously, we both got quite upset about that and took it personally.
Yeah.
So I think, that would be easier next time.
Yeah. Working with some clients, it is just what it is, as painful as it is, because think of how you won the client or even how, all the things that you did that felt like, you should have been. It might be someone, a friend that recommended to you this client. So you want to make sure that you
ironically, it was. So it was, it was recommended by a friend.
Wow.
So, and he had no issues with him actually. But then now I think about it, in the pitch, there was another warning sign because he'd been through 3 other agencies in like 2 years. And he'd said, oh, these are rubbish because blah, blah. And I thought, they're not all agencies are rubbish. So
no.
Maybe you're the problem.
Yeah. That is something that, as much as I'm busy writing all of my thoughts and processes about how the paid search industry should be working, I love reading from loads of other experts as well. And a recurring thought process is that people will say that if they've got a client and it's like, oh yeah, my last 4 agencies in the last 4 months were really bad, that's a red flag.
Yeah,
that's a red flag. Like,
exactly.
Sure.
Why have you needed to change so much? Yeah.
So much so quickly. And sure, you've got, your USP and your ways that you're different and maybe better than other agencies. But look, someone that cannot find the right agency like so many times, I mean, you gotta be careful.
I agree. There's something about withholding relationships. Like if you can't have a long-standing relationship at work, there's a problem. Right? Yeah.
It's like I feel like we can use the analogy of even like when you're finding like the right partner or right boyfriend or something. If a dude just broke up from a relationship 2 weeks ago, you're like, dude, I'm the rebound. This is not gonna work. Make sure you're not the rebound.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Or
I
in
don't
the,
want to be. Definitely.
don't be the rebound agency. Or
Yeah.
when guy comes like, oh yeah, I've had 3 girlfriends in the last month and they just can't handle me. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then run
Yeah.
hill.
Run away. Exactly. Run. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
We'd say that to our best
Exactly.
girlfriends or our best
Yeah,
gal
you're
pals.
right.
We should think about
You're
that
right.
when it comes to choosing
Yes.
clients as well, for sure.
Yes.
Um,
100%.
another part of the story that I hope is not too painful for you, that I feel that I'd like to also talk about, is that you lost fees of, like you said, about 12 grand or so.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
oh
So that was bad. So then it all transpired and he said, well, I don't want to work with you anymore. And we were like, well, we don't really want to work with you either. So that works. And he then just ghosted us and didn't pay our consultancy invoice. And my learning on that is we spent far too long deliberating about and chasing and are we going to get it? And our mentor, Mark, at the time was like, you should just write that money off because you do the legal chaser and stuff. But in reality, what are you not doing because you're constantly talking and worrying about it? And he was right because, it was then getting in the way of other pitches and other work. And that is,
yeah,
for good clients. So
yeah,
having like a boundary of like, if something's going really badly or you can't make it work or someone's not going to pay, there's a cut-off time. And after, say,
yeah,
whatever that is, 2 weeks, a month, you're done. There's no more
yeah,
time to be had on that. Move on. Because it would
yeah,
have cost us more to keep
yeah.
on and on about it. So I think that was a good learning that we got early on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, have you kicked into any like prepayments of to
We
pay?
haven't. We
Okay.
have like so if it's consultancy, we invoice up front, but they don't have to. They have 30 days to pay. They don't have to pay up front as such.
All right. Yeah.
To be honest, it's really rare. It is actually really rare. It's just one of the
Sure.
biggest examples I have. Yeah, it's just one of those. It's just part of it.
It's rare.
I think
It's part of this that happens.
sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if someone is going through
Yeah.
this process right now, like really, they're the ones that have just gotten a call from a client saying that you spend so much money, and it was based on they gave the client the advice, and the advice
Yeah.
was not
Yeah.
listened to. All of that. Someone is going through this process. They're in the toilet seat right now. They got sarcoma. They're scared. What will you tell them? What would you tell
I mean, I would say, well, first of all, they can ring me. Anyone in that scenario, happy to have a chat because you do feel better if you speak to someone else about it. But also, I would say it's not life or death. We are not heart surgeons. It's just advertising. And if you've done your best and you can show that you've done your best, or even if you have made a mistake and show that you're willing to, show remorse and fix it, well, there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
yeah, absolutely. That's a great story you've shared with us. And we're going to come around now to talking about just our industry as a whole and how people deal with mistakes and whether we hear enough about it. In the PPC industry, do you feel like you hear enough about talking about failures?
I think it's getting better, like, especially from this year, seeing it more and more. I think, like, when I was in my 20s learning PPC, I often felt like I was the stupidest one in the agency, or I was the only one making a mistake, and things were hushed up and it would all be done in meeting rooms quietly. Whereas I think now people like us are more open. And I also think that now the newer generations coming up are more open as well because they're mirroring that behavior, which is great. So, I mean, sometimes like in our agency, we'll have a team meeting, and if there's been a mistake, we might say to that person, look, if you want to talk about it, happy for you to talk to the whole team about it. And everyone obviously will be kind and give their condolences. So, like, it's not a problem to talk about it.
Yeah.
The only way we can change it is by sharing stuff. I don't want it to look like I'm saying it, everyone should make mistakes and it's fine, but it's more like mistakes do happen. You can put all the process you like in place and that will reduce it, but sometimes stuff just happens and it's not worth anyone's mental health really over it. You want people
No.
to care, but you don't want
Yeah.
people to get super anxious about it really.
No, absolutely. I think something that was I really like that was shared in a previous episode was that if you've not made a mistake, you've probably not tested enough things, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Yes. Because
So
remember it more. It stays with you.
yeah,
And I've said
absolutely.
all the mistakes I've talked about publicly, I've shared them with my team over and over again. But sometimes they just need to make their own mistakes to learn, you know?
Everybody does. Everybody
Yeah,
does.
that is part of it, definitely. In every job.
Yeah, it is. Is there a safe way you'd say to fail, like in digital marketing or in your agency, that main managers tip for like managers to of how to get digital marketers to
Yeah,
not too scared about
that's a good
failing?
question. So as a leader, sharing your own failings opens that door to let people feel it's okay to do that. So definitely
Yeah.
that. And then it's how you deal with mistakes and failings, right? So,
Yeah.
we had it 2 months ago when someone basically just set all countries instead of just the UK on a campaign. Didn't spend that much, but it was still wrong. So then, so it's what you do when that comes out. So
Yeah.
what we do is we say, oh, look, it's a shame that happened. What have you learned? Usually learned something. And then
Yeah.
can you tell the client, tell them straight away,
Yeah.
make it open.
Yeah.
Don't try and hide
Yeah.
stuff because it probably will come out and then it'll be much worse. Whereas if you say to a client, oh, we left this setting on and in 24 hours, it spent like 50 quid in other markets other than the UK. There is no client that is going to really have a massive issue with that. They're going to say, thank you for your honesty, move on, don't care.
Yeah.
Whereas if you leave it and then stuff comes out, they then don't trust you. That is so much worse. So I think, it's just all about comms, isn't it, really? Having everything open.
Yes, absolutely. Comms is the biggest thing. Like if you're the one that speaks about the issue, come up with a plan. You already have a plan. You know the why of what happened. Come up with a plan of how to bring it back. You can win most clients over. Most, not all. And some clients, they're not worth winning over, as we've spoken about. So know the difference. Know the difference. And know when to cut losses. So another question I want to come to, because we are very much in the era of AI, whether we like it or not. And I know people just want to hear, especially with like lately, I don't know when people are going to listen to this, the last couple of weeks, there have been loads of changes about performance mags and, channel reporting, more negatives and all of that. And even like with AI Max, the new search feature that is going to be coming out soon. Like AI can be a very positive force. I'm pro AI, but I also think that we sometimes use it wrong in a lot of ways. What is like the biggest F up or biggest mistake in the ways that people approach AI that you've experienced with like clients, especially like in Hop?
That is an interesting one. I know like some people use it to, write all their ads now. And I think that is fine, but I think it's an F up to not use your brain.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen long term? So what's going to happen long term is all the ads are going to look the same and no one's going to know how to write ads.
Yeah.
So I think people need to use their brain with AI.
Yeah.
So, because I use it, I would say I'm a slightly later adopter. Like I'm using it, but I'm not like a must use it for every single thing type person. But I use it, but I absolutely will go over what it is giving me and edit the hell out of it. Because if your brain is a muscle, and if you're not using it, it will go. And it, at some point, you might say you want to go for another job, and you're in a job interview, and maybe there's a written part of the exam, and you can't use AI. What are you going to do? Yeah. If you, I guess what I'm saying is, don't let it become a crutch.
Yeah.
It's a support, but it shouldn't be a crutch.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So probably the biggest F up is just like losing your brain for it.
Yeah, losing your brain. Like be the strategist, be the person that is still doing the thinking and let it help out you out to organize your thoughts.
no one's going to get paid a high salary because they can write well. Not in the end. They're going to get paid a high salary.
Why would anyone hire you to be lazy? Yeah, I used to call myself sometimes, oh, I'm a bit lazy because I just want to find the fastest way to do things. But I call them actually more efficient. Like I'll think I'm the one that's actually thinking of the things that needs to be done. It's different.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is different. And using it for ideas and using it to reduce time researching stuff, amazing. It's great.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But I just think if you're fully using it to write, I see it on LinkedIn all the time.
No.
You know, people writing posts that just think of ChatGPT and you just think, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah. Or the comments for me it's like, oh, people try to make it like they're engaging with all your posts, with all the comments. And I've started deleting stuff. I'm literally like, AI, delete if I have time. If I have time.
Yes.
Like,
me too.
Annoying. So annoying.
Yeah.
So annoying.
Yeah.
Although,
you see it when you reply as well.
Yeah.
If you reply to a clearly an AI comment and you're like, oh, that sounds great, tell me more. And then they can't because they haven't got a brain.
I don't know more. And maybe I should ask ChatGPT what it meant. And it just doesn't make sense
ridiculous
anymore. It's absolutely ridiculous. I saw a job title because going to the whole, will people pay you for using AI? And there's a job title I saw on LinkedIn of being an AI sports editor. I'm like, what do you mean AI sports editor?
What does that mean?
Interesting.
ChatGPT?
Like,
oh my goodness. Amazing.
So companies themselves, hiring process themselves, I think they're also part of the problem inside of what they make it clear that is important. You need to be an AI engineer. It's an AI engineer.
What does that mean? But they don't put, people hiring managers stuff don't know, do they?
No.
Scary world.
It really is. It really is. Well, Kat, this has been a fantastic conversation. I love chatting with you. We meet at like award shows or like, events, and we'll just chat away. But before you go, last question that is more of a fun one. If your PPC career were a movie, what would be the title?
Okay.
You should have read the questions beforehand.
Yeah, I should have. I don't know. I was going to say something about failing to prepare. I can't think now. Turbulent times in digital.
Turbulent times in digital. Wow, that's ominous. Yeah. Like, oh God, are you okay? Should we have a long?
I'm okay. I'm hanging in there, but it's definitely a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's very much a roller coaster in this industry at the moment. It sure is. Well, on that note, thank you so much, Kat. Where can people find you if they want to see some of your, fantastic musings about paid search?
Well, LinkedIn's where I'm most vocal. I like to shout about the good and the bad I see. So you can look me up on LinkedIn, or you can go on my website, houseperformance.co.uk.
Absolutely. Lovely. Thank you so much for that, Kat.
No problem. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you so much, Kat, for sharing that very honest and transparent experience. It's always nerve-wracking when you have to remember how much money you lost from, doing some work with a client, whether it was the ad spend itself or what you could have actually earned from that money. Because whatever the results of working with a client, if you put in work into it, you deserve to be paid for that, because they're paying for your effort, they're paying for your intelligence, not just for the results. So guys, be wary out there and watch out for those red flags so that you don't come across a client who's going to make you regret taking them on. So for all information and the full transcript for that episode, go to podcast.ppc.live. Of course, I've also got to update you on what's going on PPC Live. We have the next event happening on June the 26th in Leeds. For those up north who want to meet with your community, want to meet with all the other paid advertisers who are within walking distance of you, please come to this event. Tickets are live on ppc.live and there are early bird sales there going on. And before I leave you, I'm also delighted to share that I'm taking on coaching clients. So paid search coaching services is what I'm offering on an hourly basis blocks. So if you just go to themarketinganu.com, you can book some time so that I can help you reignite your passion and your confidence in paid search. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that show, and I look forward to bringing you more PPC F-ups and triumphs next week. Bye.